Just bringing up chat here, getting things going. It's supposed to start 20 minutes ago, just having some technical issues. There already, my volume is going. You don't want to hear my computer audio. Every time I do this, I do something different. So I have a new mic set up this time. You have to tell me how you're hearing me. I'm trying to cut down some of the loud noise from the tools, while also being able to, talk about what's happening and answer questions. I'll get going with stuff in a moment. I'm still navigating Twitch a little bit here. No, I don't want that. Okay. Get going soon. Just seem to have lost my chat panel. There we go. No, I like this light mode. Like I said, still working out some, what, you want the dark mode? There's your dark mode. Make you happy. It's just harder for me to see in this setup. Please let me know if you can hear me or not. I will be starting shortly. Alright, everything seems plugged in and good to go. So a lot of these streams are going to have slow or delayed starts because I'm always trying to use new tech, new microphones, stuff like that. Right now I have a mic here trying to tone down the noise from the tools. Later on I'll switch it to the mic I've been using and hopefully somebody can tell me which one's better. An air scribe, by the way. Shared this to the Fossil Preparation Tips and Tricks group, so that's run by Zoic. This is a Zoic Paleotech air scribe. If you're a fossil prep nerd, you can hear me talk about air scribes, what I like, what I don't like, what I like about this, what I don't like about this. I'm not sponsored. Zoic makes some good tools. A lot of companies make good tools, but there are always flaws. And I am here to educate. So let me get this setup going so I can toggle to the scope. So this is the guy we've been preparing. This is a Phareodus testis, likely a testis. It could be a young encostus. It's about 10 or 11 inches long. That puts it in young encostus territory, but that's some nerdy Green River speak for you. Some of the noise you hear in the background is my dust control. The air in here is scrubbed to keep dust from going into my lungs. It's very important you have dust control. When I start air abrating, because we're going to do some fun air abrasion today, it's going to get louder. I have to have more extractors on, and I hope you can forgive me for that. This is inherently a loud sort of thing. Rip headphone users. Yeah, I can tone it down. I can tone it down, tone it down. That might be a bit better. When I air abrade, it won't be as bad, but I haven't had many complaints before, but I'm using a new mic now. It's supposed to be a better mic, so it might pick up on more things. So let's get oriented. So this is the tail fin of this Eocene arowana relative. A lot of people liken them to piranha, and that's just it's just not correct from a taxonomic point of view. But they look quite a bit like piranha. So once we get to the skull, we'll be getting all kinds of cool teeth prepped out of there. And let me know if you can or can't hear me, and if that's because of excess noise or because my voice is just too dull. And I need to boot up the mic a little more, adjusting my lighting a little bit. And thanks, people, for rejoining. And I appreciate all of your comments as to how things look and how things sound. I'm constantly improving this. So I have a few people watching. Might as well do the what I call the standard intro. Come on, OBS, let's toggle. There we go. So my name is Steve Clausen. I'm a professional vertebrate fossil preparator. I have a career of 17 years. Well, I'm going to be approaching 20 years professionally in fossil prep. I started at the Field Museum in Chicago. I had a 6-year tenure there. Ever since I've been sort of traveling the country. Now I manage the prep lab at Badlands Dinosaur Museum in Dickinson, North Dakota. We're a federal repository, and we're probably the largest field program in North America. So dinosaurs during the day. I own my own business, manage my own lab by night. So at night, on the weekends, and during the week, I'm always prepping fish. I have been for years. I figure why not start sharing that. And I don't want to do this for personal profit. I want you to check out that throne link in my bio. I'll throw it in the comments eventually, to help out Badlands Dinosaur Museum, because due to some recent events, federal funding is a little difficult to get a hold of, and we want our program to keep running smoothly. It's getting bigger and bigger. We have new raptor dinosaurs. We just found the skull of a Phareodus, Stenonychosaurus. It's beautiful. It's being prepped as we speak. We have holotype dwarf as darked. It's this crazy looking thing. Looks Montana as Darko-ish, but I don't think it's the same thing. I think it's something of its own. But today we're working on fossil fish. This setup is not one you'll see in a lot of museums, because a lot of museums don't use microscopes for some reason. It continues to confuse me why every single museum is not stocked with scopes. It's not to say every single activity needs or deserves scopes. I'm doing plenty of dinosaur bone stuff without a scope, but I'm doing at least 50% of the work. 50% of the time I spend with that fossil is under a microscope. And we all use these now out of production Swiss microscopes, these Lysaville Earbrook Swiss microscopes. You really need to be doing at least 50-60 magnification to do things right, and today you'll see what 100 magnification can get you. And it's a little tricky to do, but I do have a nice camera set to take a look at the specimen. So we're going to be doing a lot of air abrasion, and that's when the noise will kick up a little more. But to do that, first I have to do what I call build a canvas, because air abrasion can't get through these coarse upper barbs here. So I'm going to use air scribes to take these down to just above the fin rays. And then I will use air abrasion and fine pin vices, so manual tools, to do the rest of the work. And I'll get some of that going. Get my pin vices out. So when I say pin vise, this is what I mean. This is just a vise that holds a very slender tungsten carbide rod. A lot of preparators are using pin vices like this, very thick rod, relative to this guy, which is thinner than a human hair at the tip. We'll be doing a little work with these. But I need the power of an air scribe. There are different kinds of air scribes. This is a push plate air scribe, so this spins and spins and spins at the tip. Doesn't make it good for high detail prep, but it does make it good for removing these tough outer layers where I don't really need to be detailed. This is an HW322, very fine air scribe. The tip is fixed in place, it doesn't move. Very good for fine work. So I turn on that HW322. Let's get close to that. That tip isn't moving all that much. And I'm not trying to beef with Zoic or Paleo tools or anything. But look at all the wobble in that, and this end spins around. So these are still very useful tools for fossil preparation. I just don't touch the fossil or come near the fossil with these push plate tools. That includes the whole Paleo tools lineup, effectively, Microjacks 1 through 6. Though they have something new coming out that might be a little better. We'll see. So here's the tail of our Phareodus. So I exposed the varves just above the base of the spinal cord here. Eventually we'll follow that, and you can see the ghost of that here all the way to the skull. This was a very happy accident, I should say, that happened in the quarry. A fish from above was being cut out of the limestone. Underneath there happened to be this wonderful Phareodus fish. They're relatively rare in the formation. Saw went through its head, but you'll see how we can make some fake matrix to fill that in. I do not restore fossils. You'll never see me beauty schooling, adding paint, adding putty, or anything. I do scientific preparation here, not commercial. I think it's an abomination to paint and putty fossils and fish. It's ascientific. Really quite a shame. So I can't see your comments. I have a monitor overhead, so I put my glasses on and I check it out. Yep, people are engaging, people are having fun, that's cool. Periodically I will adjust the light going in, so I'm going to reduce that a little bit because it's a little overexposed. You can remind me to do that if it's a little bright for you. I will look up occasionally. And I don't know if you've seen my older videos. I don't want to be a broken record and do the same thing over and over again, but I'm here to educate. Please ask me whatever questions you have. As I get started here, I'm going to create a canvas for air abrasion. What that means, in addition to what I told you already, is that I'm going to remove this top layer here. They're probably about 12 vars. This represents about 6 years of deposition. Probably an area about this wide, and then hit that with air abrasion. That could last our whole stream, prepping that out. It gets more delicate as we move toward the end of these fin rays, much, much thinner than paper. My light a little bit. Adjust the brightness and the warmth. Want it a little cooler. You probably can't see much of a change on your end, but I certainly do. Now for reference, when I talk about changing lighting, I'm talking about adjusting these radius lights here. These were developed for film cameras to basically replace flashers, so you can change the warmth and the brightness of the light. So they have monitors where you can do that. Here, these are managing my oblique light, so you might not notice much of a difference in the stream, but this helps me see the relief of the specimen. If I didn't have these and I just had this overhead incandescent light, I might miss certain things. I might skip over bone. I might break bone that has more of a reflective surface.
as opposed to a matte surface, something in that respect. So just want to help you visualize what I mean there. Thank you for the subscription at A Truck Horn. I really appreciate it. It's really cool that people are getting involved. Please let me know what else you want to see. You'll see some air abrasion a little later. Let me know how the sound is too. If you can hear my voice, if the tool's a bit loud, I can try to adjust that in OBS. I'm going to remind everyone I'm very, very new to Twitch and to streaming. I've only been doing this maybe a little more than a month. I had Danny Anduza at the museum. We cross paths occasionally. He's pushing me to get on Twitch, so I said, why the heck not? I'll try it. I don't have as big a social media presence. I mean, I'm there, but I'm an outdoorsy person, I'm a books person, but why not give it a try? So if I'm missing some Twitch etiquette or things like that, I apologize. I was just learning about what an emote is. I'm not that old, I'm 32, maybe I'm old to you, but still getting into it. Nicked it a bit there. So this is the disadvantage of using lower magnification. So I'm at 20x here, which is the limit of a lot of scopes in labs. So I mean, for comparison, this is 80x. I can do 20 more, but I won't. It'll just get blurry. You want to be able to get really, really close. Now, this is just such a minuscule thing. It usually nobody would bring it up. Most commercials are blasting this part away and painting it back in. But this is scientific prep we're learning about. We want to be scientists about this. And I'm not knocking commercials. I understand to sell fish, you have to work at a certain pace. But we're not selling them. These fish, this is science. These are all going to be part of a book that I'm writing, and some are going to go into a study, so they'll be reposited at a museum, possibly Badlands Dinosaur Museum. So again, link to their throne in my bio. I am here to give them as much support as I can. I'm saying them, I'm their lab manager, but these are my off hours. I have my own lab where I prep fish, and this is just what I do, all for your enjoyment. I really should do when I get to like this level is use a finer air scribe, which is what I've been doing. I actually have to adjust the light for you so you don't have too much or too little coming in. Now I'm going to adjust this radius light because it's a little too close to my coarse fine focus knob. See all the things I have to deal with. Finer air scribe. Yeah, that's just so much smoother. Now I can't go as quick with this HW, but that tip barely shakes. I have much better control, and I'm comfortable working the fossil with it. Versus these beefy push plates. Turn down my ISO for you. Yeah, I'm being a little risky getting this close, but this lab is all for experiments. See, I got carried away a little more right there. So you heard that little bit got struck. I didn't actually expect that to be that high. I didn't expect it to ride up, and that is a mistake on me. But from the naked eye, you'll never be able to see that. Most people don't even consider that a mistake, but I'm a scientist here basically telling you, hey, I could do better there. But that's not a crack that even needs consolidation. I'll show you that. Sometimes I break a bone on purpose just to show you consolidation. That is the different glues and consolidants we use. I might do that at some point. I think I'm going to pull all the way back and write myself a canvas for this round. So for those of you who are just joining, I'm cutting this sediment down to prepare for light air abrasive prep of these fin rays. So I think I'm going to do like this area, and I'll mark that out. The fins do splay out pretty wide on these guys. It's probably going to go all the way back here, but for what I'm doing today, this will be a good area. So I can get closer with my magnification and know that I'm not going out of bounds here. trying to get rid of as many of these crusty orange layers as possible. These are spring-summer deposition in the fossil lake system. They're orange because it's very carbon rich. There's a lot of carbon input to the tributaries of the lake. And they're quite dense. And so it makes air abrasion a little tricky. It takes more powder to get rid of them, and then you have these sort of localized spots that get hit with more backscatter. And so you might abrade away some scales that are peripheral to these horizons while you're trying to knock them down. So I try to get as much orange down as possible before I move in with air abrasion. Oh, I see everybody in chat has the fossil time spirit. I appreciate that. It definitely is fossil time. How long it took before power tools, oh, that's for sure. I can tell you some of the fish I've seen that were, prepped in the 1800s are mostly dust now. They're using acid prep. And for Green River fish, acid will get through some of the matrix, but it will degrade the bone and the scales over time. And it's going to destroy any preserved soft tissue. So we're going to see in this fish's eye, when we get to the eye, I'm going to extract the tissue preserved in the eye. And you also see some of the membranes between the pectoral fin rays that I'm going to go after. Hopefully see some color patterns too, stuff you don't get out with other methods. Yeah, I'll have to show you at some point a cross section of this rock. This is from the 18-inch layer. Formerly it's called the F1 beds of the Green River Formation. This is literally like having worked it, no matter which core you go to, almost exactly 18 inches in thickness, representing, I think it's about 4,000 years of deposition. Every 2 layers or varves represent effectively a year. These layers were much thicker when they were laid down, and high pressure and temperature after deposition has led to these paper-thin layers. I could go off on fossil lake stuff again and again and again, but I think people want to see more prep. But like I said, I don't want to be a broken record, but I will answer any of your questions. Even what's the best salad dressing? What's the best salad dressing? I have an answer. I won't give it. We can talk about dinosaurs too, but that's a little boring. So those droplets you're seeing, that's not water. Just for any pros that are watching this, you probably already know. My air lines are very well filtered. This is an air scribe that requires oil to run efficiently. Several drops per hour often to run efficiently. So I oil it and then I run it through a paper towel for a couple minutes, but there's always residual oil. So these scribes that that need oil, I don't use them right over the fossil, but I will use them to pull down matrix. Okay, where am I at? So I don't have to approach, these lines exactly before I get started with abrasion, though. I'm going to work this out a little more here. I just had a thought, and before it escapes me, I'm going to go add some powder to my abrasive chamber. I don't know how exciting that might be, but I can try to show you what that looks like. Okay, here we go. Swan Blaster. This is the gold standard. The gold standard of abrasive units. You never want to fill these all the way. You never want to fill it halfway if you're doing something this fine. You really want it about a quarter of the way. So I can add a little more. First I want to stir it a little bit. So this is vibrating the powder, getting any clumps out and sort of sorting it. This is sorted, laboratory sorted sodium bicarbonate, so baking soda. Not exactly what you get from Walmart or wherever you get your baking soda. I'm really just going to add a shot glass full. I use a shot glass as my standard unit of measurement because why not? This is the Midwest. What do we have but our booze? And I have to make sure to seal powder bag so it doesn't get moisture. I'm going to aerobrate shortly. I just wanted to remember to do that. So I hope that was as exciting as it looked. Now let's try to orient that again. It looks like good distance there. I'll call that good enough. Hi everybody, thanks for being here. Good viewership in the US if you're watching from the US late at night. If you're in like Australia or something, hello. It makes more sense for you to be here. We can go to scope cam and keep on carving that canvas before we aerobrade. So the canvas I carved last stream was about this size, and then we, for the most part, aerobrated and pin viced these fin rays out here. And this is from the stream previous. Each were a couple hours, just to give you an idea. Like I said, if you're having trouble hearing me, audio problems, visual problems, ISO too high, this and that, please let me know in the comments. I'm pretty new to all of this, but I'm glad people find it interesting. thank you for the engagement. That makes me very happy. This, I thought at first, was an artifact here, what I mean is an unrelated bone floating in space, but I'm wondering if the tail doesn't come up on itself a little bit. So I'll explore that with a more careful air scribe. We're at 40 magnification, 40x magnification. If you've been in a fossil prep lab with scopes, this is probably the limit of their ability. But at some museums, certainly my own, Fry 100, you really need that extra oomph. Yeah, this could still be just a rogue bone, but I'm going to presume, until proven otherwise, that it is part of the tail. That's an air abrasion job, I think. I say rogue bone. That's coprolite. Yeah, so I think this is a coprolite that has some bone in it. So coprolite meaning fossil poo. It might seem exciting, but on every one of these fish plates, you can run into dozens and dozens of these poos. So it's best to just bite the bullet and get rid of them. Yep, there's that light brown phosphate preserved cross section that is indicative of a coprolite with bone. This is so common that it is going to detract from the fish, the scientific value of counting the fin rays and looking at the morphology of the tail. So I am making the common and executive decision to remove this. This was a poo made at least a couple of years after this fish died. I don't know if somebody in the comments can tell me why we know this poo was made at least a couple of years after this fish died.
You've been doing your homework on my stream.
Brownie points. Tell me, can I gift like special stars to people on Twitch? I don't have much of a concept for how this works, so my viewers can educate me just as I educate you. I don't mean to sound like a college professor. I used to be a lecturer at Cal State. I'm a geologist, so I still like asking my clicker questions. Sometimes I miss teaching. It's really kind of a pain, mostly. I like teaching this way. This is the best way to teach, this visual medium. And I get to do what I love in the process. Disappointing. Nobody's told me about their favorite salad dressing yet. Mine's a bit controversial, and it's fresh on my mind. I was having a debate with my partner. I love Dijon mustard on spinach or in a Caesar salad. I love mustard in salad. Dijon, Poupon, It's just so delicious. I'm keto, so gotta take the little things. My babbling. Oh yes, raspberry vinaigrette, lime. I used to use lime vinaigrette a lot too. Is there any sugar in that though? Is the question. I can't have much sugar. Really limit my sugar intake. I lost 110 pounds in about a year and a half. And I'm meaning to stay on track. And the secret is really just no sugar, in bread, effectively. So this sideways technique where I'm using the side of this and using that vibration to smooth out this edge here. Generally not recommended for most air scribes. You can get away with it a little bit, but that over time might cause a little play. The bushings in certain piston-driven scribes, for example, they tend to be nylon. Those will wear down and they're hard to replace. This is a simple push plate air scribe. I use this for rough work, so I'm not very concerned. This is a Zoic Velociraptor Mark II for those air scribe nerds here. I'm just going to carve out a little more here, and then we can get to some air abrasion. Yes, ads. That's new to me too, this affiliate stuff, but every time you view those ads, you are supporting small-town paleontology, if it makes you any happier. Let's see. My goal was never to make money from this. I want to educate and entertain and talk about Badlands Dinosaur Museum. With the loss of federal grants and things, we could use everybody's help. Now, I'm not representing them here. This is my own lab. I just happen to manage their lab by day, and this is my research lab by night. So I don't sell anything that I'm preparing here. This is all for science and fun. But I do contract prep, so if you have a fossil that you found or own that you want prepped, I will do that for you for my hourly rate, or a 2-part fee. I'm doing a bison antiquus skull right now. I just finished up a mammoth tusk from Alaska. Just trying to get rid of these pesky orange bars. Yeah, for reference, I prepare and have prepared almost every kind of fossil you can imagine. On this stream, generally, I'm going to be doing fish. Because I love fish, they're an educational tool, they're entertaining. Sometimes I'll do other things. I have some unprepped birds, stingrays are fish, technically, from Lebanon, the Hakel Formation. And I did stream the other day from Badlands Dinosaur Museum, working on a duckbill Procerolophus sacrum, and I can do more streams from the museum in the future. If people like that sort of thing. I re-upload everything that gets archived to my YouTube channel, which is @NaturalHistoryStudio. You can put that in the comments eventually. 60x. Get rid of that orange layer. freaking orange barb. We'll just let you see how air abrasion agrees with those orange layers. This is going to be some pin vise work right here. I talked about that on last stream, so maybe I'll show a little bit of that. Let me shine some more light on the equation. Let's crank down the light going to your camera feed here. Kind of crank it up for me a bit though. So I have a lock line hose attached to my dry compressed air that's regulated down to about 30 psi. What I do is I use this very small pin vise to get rid of sediment grain by grain. Now I can't just let it build up, so I have a foot pedal that I press that blows those grains away. I can't hold something like a poofer in my left hand because at these magnifications we're already at 80. I need both of my hands to steady the pin vise. And I also usually only push it when I breathe out. I want to be closer. We've got a little more light on. At 90 magnification. This is not a nice spot here. Come on. Come on. And again, without that foot pedal air, this is what happens. You can't see what you're doing. Sometimes, only when the bone's resting in the sturdy orange sediment like this, do I take an art gum eraser and gently glide it over the surface. And then that reveals a little more. Now, and I can do more of that another time. I'm just showing you the pin vise work I was talking about during the last stream. I'm going to lean back and just give my eyes a little microscope rest. Looks like the light going to you is looks like that's okay. So I'm leaning back. It's good to take every hour or so a 5-10 minute breather. I won't be 5-10 minutes. I'm just really talking to you. Thank you so much for engaging in the comments. Try to read that. Is it dramignophite? Dramignophite. It's a science thing. I should know that. Hi. I'm glad you're here. So this is the tail fin of a fish called Phareodus encaustus. Well, probably Phareodus testis. It could be a young Encostus. So I'll pull back off of it here. So this is the tail fin. It's a complete fish, really nice fish from the Green River Formation. So we're Eocene in age. What I did last stream is what I call cut a canvas and then aerobraid. So last stream I did all of this. Right now what I'm doing is cutting through the hard rock and getting to the first varve or two of sediment above the fin rays. And soon now I'm going to blast that with abrasive powders. Really light, really controlled abrasive powders. I use 50 micron sodium bicarbonate, so it's lab sorted and totally dry. And that's fun. It'll get a little louder because I have to turn more dust extraction on, but people really like that part. So yeah, Phareodus, relatively rare fish from the Green River. It's nice to find. It looks a lot like a piranha, but it's actually an arowana relative. Hey, Scoobs. Thanks, I appreciate it. It does get loud. If you'd like, I can always tone that down a little bit. Like I could do max at 35 decibels. I can adjust my Sony handle mic as well as the audio in OBS. But everybody seems to be hearing me, so that's good. So still taking a small breather. Hello, this is what I look like. This is my lab. This is where I'm working. Scope setup, lighting arrangement, radius lights for oblique light, and then I have incandescent light going right above the specimen. Air abrasion in front of me, air extraction here, and all over the place. I'm Steve Clausen, professional fossil preparator, nearly 20 years professional experience. I don't feel that old. It's really 17 years. I started when I was, I started 20 hours a week when I was not even 18 yet, so I've been doing it for a little bit. Hey, fossils are fossils. I started Upper Michigan. In undergrad, I went to the UP, found a lot of cool stromatolites and stuff like that. In the Kona Dolomite region, we collected a lot of biffs from the Iron Range. I grew up near Chicago, so it was limestone fossils I was finding and working on. I had a little air compressor in my garage and a Chicago pneumatic, and I just sort of go after them. That's how you have to start. You have to start by finding your own stuff, getting a little compressor, and learning what it feels like to make big mistakes. Then eventually you work your way up. You have to volunteer ultimately. I spent more than 4 years as a volunteer before I started getting paid in any way. So I started on a contractual basis, and eventually I was staffed. My first staff position was at the Burpee Museum in Rockford, and I had a fun time there. Yay, bots. Yeah, this is all new to me. So, without further ado, I will cut back to the scope cam. I'm going to get ready to do some air abrasion, so it'll get a little louder. I'll stop the machine periodically, but I'm going to talk too. I'm going to see if you can hear me talk while I'm doing it. pressure to 15 psi, power flow 0.4. Still a bit strong, 10 psi, 0.25 power flow. Now you see what I mean about these orange layers. Whatever, let's just roll with it. It's all an experiment. hope that audio's not too bad, but it is what it is. Good morning, Cindy, aka Coco. I appreciate you being here. Good morning from western North Dakota. We're at 60 degrees, believe it or not. At least was a few hours ago. Thanks for popping in a little bit. I really appreciate it. Everything helps. I'm glad people get something out of this. I do it every night anyway. I figure might as well share it. I don't always have something interesting to say, but I will talk to you. I'm open to any questions, but I don't want to be too much of a broken record, so you gotta ask them. A lot of this fish is buried in the orange barb. Powder flow 1.5, pressure of 35 psi. For anybody who's keeping track. Anybody just joining us, welcome. Ask me any questions. I can see them on the monitor and chat. Thanks for being here. Tell me how my mic is doing. I've got a lot of tools, a lot of dust extraction around me, so it's hard to modulate that sound, but it seems like I'm getting through. stretch a little bit.
I sort of have an idea for like a non-official reward system, so I work on a lot of fish. How about the next new viewer to subscribe gets to name this fish? It's a Phareodus testis. Could be as small in costas as the species. You see Green River Formation, but it could be Larry. It could be Bob. It could be Patrick. It could be Dead Mouse. I don't care. You name it. That's what I refer to it as. I don't know. It just came to my head. Anybody who's new here, welcome. This is my lab. My name is Steve. I prepare fossils late at night in North Dakota. Stretching at the moment. Please ask questions in the comments. I will answer any of them. We were talking about salad dressings earlier. What is your favorite? I love Dijon mustard.
So is that the official name now? This Mandy K, is that what you want? I will engrave it right now. Oh, that is lovely. those lines later. I'll even add some pigment. So, Miss Mandy K, we got a name for our fish. Thank you for your subscription. And your viewership. Lost my air nozzle in the carcass. Saturday night, well, here in North Dakota, 11 p.m. Mountain Time. Now that's always plus or minus 20 minutes. I'm always having technical issues. I'm very new to Twitch. I am also here 7 p.m. U.S. Mountain Time on Mondays. That's what I'm committing to. And sometimes I cross over with Danny and Noosa there. So, and I will randomly pop in occasionally during the week, but I will commit to a couple of hours Saturdays and Mondays, and you'll see that on my schedule. Just FYI. I'd stream more, but I do have a full-time 40 to 50-hour job managing the lab at Badlands Dinosaur Museum, so I can't do this as much as I want to. Some people disagree with that. Some people say you should just stick to one place and move along. I can see why. Then you avoid backscatter on really fragile elements. But this is really sturdy material so far. I'm not worried about the backscatter yet. You will see when I start to get worried as we get close to the tips of the caudal fin. This is fossil fish from the Green River Formation. It looks a lot like a piranha, but it's an ancestral arowana called Phareodus. I believe it's a Phareodus testis. It's on the large end for testis. I do not, or it's a small Phareodus incostus. But based on how thin the taper on this dorsal fin is, I'm guessing it's a Phareodus testis. That's Testis. And we'll get to the skull at some point. It's going to have some really nice teeth. Big gaping jaws. It's going to look really cool.
because it was cutting out a very nice fish from above. Nobody knew that this was below. But just like Bob Ross says, happy little accidents. We're going to fill that in with some fake matrix I'm going to make. But I am not going to color anything, paint anything, or restore anything. I don't restore fossils. This is scientific preparation I'm demonstrating. But we'll make that cut mark go away, and the best parts of the fish are all there. Happy little accidents. This happens in the quarries all the time. It's basically unavoidable with how you have to quarry these fish. The thing is, I do have some software for that. I'm still getting used to using it. So I just added a different filter. Tell me how that's going. Really interested to hear your feedback. When I don't have the aeration going, it's a lot better, but I can't get around having this extractor here. Right now I'm closing it off so you can hear me better. But there it is again. So we put on the topic of salad against everybody, which was very interesting. What was I just thinking? listen to a lot of podcasts when I'm doing fossil prep. But really just one lately, I'm wondering, like, what is your, like, go-to work podcast? I can't recommend Freecast enough. That's Blending Unit Company. This is a genuine question. This isn't like driving conversation. When you're doing fossil prep, just these long durations of just, I mean, you see it scribing for hours. You have to have some audio input. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure something out about the chat manager my screen. Once again, I am new to this. Sister. I just made help at all, if you can hear me at all. That, I'm all for it. There's not one brand I'm going to praise completely. I can say that much. Try to add some noise canceling, but I hope it didn't cancel too much. It's like a good combo. Testing. Just testing my sound working. I apologize for the noise. It gets a little better each time, but if you can at least hear what I'm saying, give me a thumbs up. Tell me your favorite dinosaur. What do you want to know about paleontology? My name's Steve Cross, and I'm not just a preparator, I'm a paleontologist by degree. Phareodus in particular, I published on a number of famous locales, including 3 papers regarding the Cleveland Lloyd dinosaur quarry in Utah. You want to talk to Cleveland Lloyd, I'm your guy. Stepping back from the science and just doing a little ASMR. Or you can tell me if you can hear me better right now. There's a valve I can shut that I think makes the audio a little better. I have to keep that open when I'm abrading, but I can keep it shut when I'm not. I'll remind everyone this Phareodus testis is named Miss Maddie K. Miss Maddie K. In honor of her birthday, like Scoobs, who subscribed to this channel. The next fish will have the same challenge. The first one to subscribe gets to name the fish. I don't know how fun that is, but it's the first time I'm doing it. I gotta be careful right here. I'm entering the territory of these really slender rays that drifted over here somehow. Now, ordinarily, I would prep these away. They don't really belong here, but for your purposes, I'm going to get these out with a thin vise, but that's going to come later. I accidentally nicked one right here. Scoops did subscribe right after I said that, so I guess it works. We have to think of other initiatives. A little strong.
See here how this is starting to crumble a little bit. Pressure of air abrasion can crumble bone. It's pretty fragile inside, sometimes hollow. So I'm going to consolidate this. So today I'm using a solution of B76 or polyvinyl butyriol acrylic beads dissolved in 190 proof ethanol. Now that's going to penetrate into the bone. It's going to make it stronger. It's going to leave a residue on the surrounding bone, but that residue is very easy to abrade off. So I'm waiting a moment for that to dry, then I'll work elsewhere for a little bit.
Rather, it's a 2 horsepower motor driving in a dust extractor. That gets a little quieter, I think. Ooh, now my volume's way up, huh? I can tone that down a bit. Yeah, managing the volume on this can be tricky. So let me get my dust proofer out, clean my canvas, and let's make some more canvas. By canvas, I mean getting through this overburden of rock so I can use air abrasives. Now, on the very tips of the caudal fin, I'm not going to be able to use air abrasives. I'm going to use very slender pin vices to try to get the stuff that is much, much thinner than a human hair worked out. Thank you for being here if you're just joining, or thank you for staying here. I know it's late. 3, is it 3? The clocks are skipping ahead, aren't they? Yeah, 3 a.m. Mountain Time for me in the United States. Shout out to any of my international crowd, and you can make yourself known as well. I know there were some Aussies last time. It's awesome to see my Australian friends joining. So these orange varves, by varve I mean a seasonal depositional layer. These orange varves are really resistant to air abrasion. They're the bane of my existence, especially when the fossil's locked into it. The white varves are very easy to get through. They're these winter depositional layers that have no carbon, nothing to bind up the grains. Representing slow time in terms of organic input into the fossil lake system. This is a 55 million year old fossil fish. Phareodus testis, or a small encostus. I believe it's testis. It was recently named Miss Mandy K, as Scoobs was the first to subscribe when I offered the challenge. So whenever I work on a specimen, first to subscribe during the work will get to name it. Sorry about the audio, it's always wild. I'll pull out again here so you can see the whole tail fin. Now we're going to work this back so we can do some more air abrasion. And I never have like a direct deadline for these streams, like, oh, I'm going to end at 3. It was 2, now it's 3. I can go a little longer. If you want me to stay, just tell me. If there's no opposition, I'll leave, but, might as well be here another 30 minutes or so. Let me know if you have any questions about anything. I'm a paleontologist, but I also like salad. I like Dijon mustard. I like Creep Cast, Meat Canyon, and that's about it, I guess. Rabbit-shaped chocolates. I like those. And if you had a bonus check or something like that this month and are looking to do something charitable, you'll see in my bio a link to the Badlands Dinosaur Museum Throne. That's the Dickinson Museum Center, also Badlands Dinosaur Museum Throne. I am the full-time laboratory manager for what will soon be the largest federal repository in the Northwest. Our facility will be bigger than the Museum of the Rockies. A lot of our foundation was built on federal grants, specifically Bureau of Land Management, and we've lost those prospects recently, you know, for certain events. So we're turning to sort of the private sector to help us continue developing our education and outreach programs. This is rural North Dakota, where, you know, such things suffer, and our museum has been really a bastion for learning and creativity in the community. And we have world-class specimens, future holotypes. We just started preparing probably the best Stenonychosaurus skull you ever seen. We have new taxa of Troodontid, a new dwarf as dark-headed that is surprisingly complete. It'll be the most complete pterosaur from Montana, certainly, if not the region. I spend my whole summer, the last 7 years, my whole summer is spent in the field with our museum, working really closely with the Bureau of Land Management. So you can donate to help prepare a fossil. You can say 2 hours worth of contract work on a fossil. You donate enough, we'll name the specimen after you. We'll put a little plaque on it. You'll see some equipment we're in need of. That's linked to my bio. I'm trying to figure out, I am just having affiliate status here. I'm not like an internet person. I'm just learning streaming and all of this. And I won't be a broken record about it, but, you know, if you're just looking for something to research, you can really help our museum by going to that throne and pitching $20 for fossil prep. You know, why not? You like what I'm doing here? You can see me doing it at the museum. Just last week I did stream from the museum. The more, you know, contract prep we do get, the more I will stream from the museum. So you can see me working on dinosaurs and not just fish. And that's just my little blurb. I think it's only the second time I've done it today. To anyone just joining, thank you for being here. Thank you. Please let me know what questions you have. I'm a professional vertebrate fossil preparator and a paleontologist. I've published on a number of things, including taphonomy, Allosaurus, biofilms, this and that. I am just taking a little stretch here. You have to back up occasionally and shake off your hands when you're doing this kind of work. Just take a sip of water. I just had to throw that link in there. Oops, getting some stuff.
and I am a real person. This is my lab. You can't see all of it right here, but I do all of this work on this Leica MZ12 scope. I can do 100 magnification with this. You don't see this in most labs, but most labs should have at least one of these. Almost all work on fossils should be done under a microscope, specifically fossils in tough matrix or surrounding sediment. So many labs are ill-equipped, and you look at some of the work that gets put out. It looks good maybe if it's resting in your hand, but you look under a scope, you see all the scratches and damages done to potential soft tissues. It's really not scientific fossil preparation. So here I'm demonstrating scientific fossil preparation for y'all. So I have everything from air scribes, my favorite air scribes to my least favorite air scribes, and this and that. Here's my air abrasive nozzle I've been using. Very fine piston-based engraving tools like this HW322. Some of these aren't made anymore. It's hard to find, but they are just the best tools for this. And it's pin vices, little hand tools, and of course I talk about my lock line nozzle. That's this guy right here. If you can see that. But we'll go back to the scope. Continue doing a little more scribing. This is Phareodus testis, 55 million years old, Eocene, Green River Formation, Wyoming, US. From the Ulrich Quarry, the F1 beds, or the 18-inch layer. Amazing preservation. Gut traces, colors, melanosomes. If it's a little late for you, I will be back here on Monday at 7 p.m. U.S. Mountain Time. And I usually am on for a couple hours at that time. That's plus or minus 20 minutes. I've been in a lot of technical delays, but 7 o'clock, 7:15, I will be there. I'll randomly pop in sometimes throughout the week, but it's late night Saturdays in the U.S. that is, and evening on Mondays. And I do take requests. I believe you can still see me working on dinosaur fossils in an archive video on Twitch. I have streamed once from Badlands Dinosaur Museum where I manage the fossil lab. I will stream more if people request it. It's a lot to look up, but I will stream more, especially if we get some help on our Throne account that I posted in the comments. So you can see dinosaur fossils, pterosaurs, Phareodus. If it's not on Twitch anymore, I do re-upload most of these live streams to YouTube. That's at Natural History Studio. Natural History Studio on YouTube.
I don't think I've thrown that on before, actually. It's probably a wise thing to do.
And if anybody's listening, just let me know if my microphone is working by give me a wave, give me a hello. Mustard or ketchup. Podcasts. I love creepcasts. That's what's his face? Wendigoon and Papa Mate. It's my kind of humor. And it's introducing me to creepcasts. Sorry, it's so late. It's introducing me to creepypastas, which even though I grew up in that era, they sort of they escaped me. I was not as much of an internet kid. I'm 32 for reference. Okay, so I've carved out a canvas, which the HW322 that will mostly be for fine pin vise work. So we're getting to some really, really slender fin rays here at the base of this caudal fin from this Phareodus testis. It's a ancestral arowana from the Eocene. Looks a lot like piranha, but they are not piranha relatives. But I want to go after more of the sturdy stuff, so maybe do a little more air abrasion tonight and then call it quits. So I'm going to use a stronger air scribe to get through the bulk of this. So I'm going to use a Zoic Velociraptor Mark II. I love this scribe for getting through this tougher matrix, but I wouldn't use it like scribe to bone contact. It is advertised for that. I do love Zoic. I would not, as a professional, use it for that.
and I hope to carve enough of a canvas here, canvas quote unquote, to do air abrasion right here tonight. Just follow the fin ray over here. It's probably going to go further to the end of the plate. Zoom out the end of the plate. Usually at this point, I haven't been doing this long, maybe a month and a half. I call for objections. If anybody objects to me going, I will stay a little longer, but only if you subscribe. I get a subscription, that's an extra 20 minutes. If I hear no objections, then I'll end it. So I'll make my call for objections maybe as soon as I start aerobrading, so in a short amount of time. So I've cleared enough of a canvas to, probably account for more than 15 or 20 minutes of air abrasion, but I'm going to set up air abrasion. Let me see this over here. You know what? I'm going to cut a little more out of this using the 3-2. Get these orange layers. Pesky orange bars. I don't think Bob Ross had a saying for pesky orange bars. This is me demonstrating how I can work quick. So I'm not talking and giving a lot of instructions. So quick is relative because this is my finger. So it takes a lot to do scientific prep. That's enough for now. So I will get air abrasion going. Let's say I'll do 15 or 20 minutes of air abrasion. I know it's people's favorite. It's very ASMR. And this is the point where, again, I announce if there are objections, I'll stay 20 minutes longer after that. An objection is effectively a subscription. So subscribe. I'll be here longer. You know, I'm up late these nights. And I love prepping fish. I often keep prepping after I end the stream. So, you want me to stick around? That's how you do it. I'm gonna turn on the dust extractor first. It's gonna get a little louder, but it'll be more visually pleasing. You gotta trust me.
these arch layers are so pesky.
there is an objection. An objection comes in the form of a subscription. I'll do 20 more minutes if you subscribe. So that's 30 more minutes with a subscription. With 2 of them, heck, I'll do 45, 50 minutes. But other than that, I'm going to be going soon. So let's enjoy a little more aeration. Different mic setup, so this is mic setup number 2. Let me know if there's a little more noise. Thanks for commenting. I'm glad you're able to hear me. My other mic was suggesting there was some trouble. I'll switch back to that. Clemezy. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're here. Okay, Miss Mandy, I appreciate that input. So right now I am talking on the bass microphone. You're saying there's less background noise on the second option. Is this the second option? This is option A. This is option B. Is option B better than option A? Let me know. Option B shows as being more static and controlled, but I don't know if my voice is coming through. Okay, cool. That's what I was suspecting. Option A seems more dynamic, like it's picking up my voice a little better. If this is indeed option A, I appreciate your feedback. This will make future streams better. And again, you can catch me on Monday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time for a couple of hours. Yeah, it's probably a better microphone. This is a Sony FX30. It's the built-in mic, so I bet that makes a difference. Powerful abrasive stream there. Pesky orange barbs again. So Clemezy, this really fine air scribe here, this is a Hardy Winkler Model 322. This is basically the highest standard for a fine air scribe, an air scribe that's able to work on bone as delicate as the tip of a fossil feather. The closest you can get to a model that's still in production is the Zoic Valor.
I use a velour at Badlands, and it's comparable, not quite as precision. The 322s, I think Hardy, he still makes like 1 or 2 per month, so there's like a 3-year waiting list, and I'm still on the waiting list for another, but you want a fine air scribe, that's what you use. You want a good all-rounder, this is the Zoic Velociraptor Mark II. I use this to chip away the overburden of matrix. I don't use this to work on the fossil itself, but they're all much better built than paleo tools. And I'm not sponsored. I don't mean to like knock paleo tools, but paleo tools is like most of the microjacks, they're all like 800 bucks, and the quality's just not there. Zoic's almost half the price for most of their air scribes, and they just knock it out of the park. There are only a few styles that I prefer, but it's not to say that their engineering shouldn't be lauded. So you want the finest air scribe possible, your best bet is the Zoic Velour. I'm still on the waiting list. I think it's 6 months just to buy my own, and when I get that, I'll demonstrate it on stream and then put it to test with the 322. I'm here to educate. Okay, let's see, it's 4 a.m. for me, Mountain Time. We're getting close to my done time, I should say, but objections, I do stay longer with objections, and objections, a subscription, stay 20 more minutes, do an air abrasion. Other than that, I'll give it 5 or 10 more minutes and then wrap up. Subscribe, you get a half hour out of it. 2 subscriptions, maybe I'll do 45 minutes, but I do have limits. I do have most of the most popular air scribes here with me, including Paleo Tools models, Chicago Pneumatics, so if there are more requests to put them head to head, that's something I can do in the future.
definitely getting to that time where unless there's a subscription objection, I'll be going. So I'll give it another couple of minutes, and if no objections come through, I'll take the phone off the stand. I'm using my phone as a secondary camera, and I'll show you the whole fish and the progress, and then we can end the stream. And hope to see you on Monday. So a couple minutes. You want to subscribe? Stick around 20 minutes or so. Greetings from North Dakota, Germany. I try to pronounce your username, but I'd probably fail. So, hello, Germany. Ich kann ein bisschen Deutsch sprechen. It's horrible. Marcus! Oh, wow. Haven't seen you in a long time. I hope you're doing well. I don't think we've heard from you in a while. I hope you're going strong over there. Yes, it's been a very weird winter. It was negative 60 degrees 1 week ago. That's negative 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and now it's positive 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So, welcome to climate change, I guess. Marcus was on our field crew in 2023, I think, and he was an intern in our prep lab at Badlands Historic Museum. I think he learned a lot of things about America and stuff like that, and I hope you took that back to Europe and have been able to put it to use. I'll turn off that air abrasive extraction just so it's a little quieter so I can address chat a little longer, and maybe 30 more seconds to open up subscriptions, and if not, I'll wrap it up. I'll take the camera off and show you what we've been doing. So, hi, I'm right here. I've been here the whole time. I'm a real person. Eye fatigue is very important to address. I found, having managed maybe hundreds of volunteers in my career, eye fatigue is the worst in the first couple of weeks that you're using a scope. um, and you really adapt to it if you regularly sit down and go into a scope. By regularly, I mean at least 8, if not 16 hours a week. Your eyes do adapt. I can say often I'm on a scope 6 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. I no longer notice any eye fatigue. I mean, I wear glasses. I have astigmatism. I'm no stranger to eye problems, but it does just solve itself. What you have to do is, in the beginning, pace yourself. I'd say don't stare into that microscope more than 20 minutes without taking your eyes off for 5 or 10. And don't spend cumulatively more than 2-3 hours tops in one day. Follow that rule for a couple of weeks, just like you're tapering onto a medication. And eventually, just like with medication, you don't notice those side effects. And I'm not going to say that that's a universal truth, but I have found with almost all of my volunteers and colleagues that tends to be the case. You also want to have a good microscope with good optics. Certain plastic optics can strain your eye. That company Amscope with all their plastic lenses and stuff like that. Never buy an Amscope microscope. You shouldn't really be buying a new scope at all. The gold standard are Lysa Heerbrugg Wild microscopes. These were surgical microscopes made from the 70s to the early 2000s. They have glass lenses, metal gears, metal housings, sort of Swiss engineered, and they have all different kinds of interchangeable eyepieces. For example, these have a little glasses symbol on them. They made these for people to use who wear eyeglasses. So I usually take my glasses off to use a scope, but some people want to be able to leave them on. These scopes give you that capability. So it is having the right scope as well. That's my short input on the matter. All right, so I'll give it 15 seconds for an objection if you want 20 more minutes of air abrasion, and that is a subscription. Subscribe, and I'll do 20 more minutes. If not, I'll wrap it up by bringing the camera down to the scope, showing you the fish we've been working on, and then you can see me Monday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, and that's 7 p.m.-ish. Like, I often have technical problems setting this up, so today I think I ended up streaming at 11:20 p.m. instead of 11. I don't want to do that, it's just happening. I'm new to streaming, so I hope you can accept that flexibility, and I hope you've been, learning something from what I've been doing. So my setup basically involves watching this small screen so I can see what you're seeing, make sure there's not too much light going to you, and I handle that through this bar here. I can handle the ISO of the scope itself, and then I have dials on my camera here that help with the light. I have a couple of mics I've been playing with. I think the onboard mic of the FX30 seems to work better. I'll test that again next stream. Really good chats. I had a lot of good viewership this stream. I really appreciate it. So, with no objections, 10 seconds, 9 seconds, ... I'll start getting this camera off. Isn't this exciting? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No objections. Great. Or not great, however you want to put it. So, I can't see on my phone, so I'm looking at my screen. This is the tail fin we've been working on of this Phareodus testis. I believe it's a large testis rather than a small encostus. A lot of people liken these to piranha. They're actually ancestral arowana, but they do look quite a bit like piranha. So I'll move this away, and I'll give it some more oblique light. So here's the shadow of the rest of the fish. Its skull is right here, vertebral column, caudal fin we've been working on, the pectoral fin, and the dorsal fin will be right here. I get certain fish from quarry owners I know really well. This is a wonderful fish. If I were a commercial, I'd easily be able to fill this saw mark and restore the missing pieces of skull and no one would notice. I'm a scientist, I don't do that, I do scientific prep, so we will fill this with some nice fake matrix. It's a formula Connie Van Beek at the Field Museum taught me when I was really young, but I will not restore any of the fossil itself. No paint, no putty, I don't do any of that. So you sort of see the shadow of this Phareodus. It's a relatively rare fish, so it's sort of a fun thing to work on. I don't know, I have a split fish example somewhere here. If I pull away, you'll see, okay, here's the extractor base. That's what's making all that racket when I'm working on fossil prep. That's my water, my pin vices, swan blaster here. I'm using microblasting here, so I'm on very, very low pressure and powder flow. For higher pressures and powder flow, I have my own abrasive chamber with a different unit that does very powerful blasting. So this is like for dinosaur bone and stuff like that. So the fish itself is from the Green River Formation from Kemmer, Wyoming. That's Eocene. It's about 55 million years old. It's from the F1 beds, also known as the 18-inch layer. It's a conservat Lagerstatt. The 18-inch layer preserves fossil organs, scales, eye tissue, melanosomes, you name it. It's been found here. So this is an incredibly well-preserved Phareodus. I do have an example from the split fish layer that was split out. I don't know if you can see that right there, that's split out. That's a completely prepped Phareodus testis. I didn't do that, I was gifted that a long time ago. And in the abrasion chamber, we're working on a lot of different fish, and so this is one such example. This is a Prisca carrot coming out. And I mentioned this bison antiquus skull I'm working on at the moment, and there are a lot of other fun projects going on. And I have other scopes too. My partner Deanna Neff is also a professional preparator, so she uses this scope when she's in here. And I want to talk more about scopes and accessories in the future. That's my workstation and all. So with that, and no objections, thank you all for being here. Thank you so much. Hi, I'm Steve Clausen, vertebrate paleontologist, professional fossil preparator. I manage the lab at the Federal Repository that is Badlands Dinosaur Museum in Dickinson, North Dakota. Check that link to our throne that I put in our account. I do not want to make personal profit from this. Please help us in a time where federal grants are no longer a possibility for programs like us. I appreciate your viewership, and I look forward to seeing you all on Monday, if not next Saturday. So with that, there's that special button I gotta click that says stop streaming. Thank you all. Peace out.